In Los Angeles at the California Science Center, the young are coming to marvel at the old. The very, very old. The treasures of King Tut, more than 3,000 years old and still gleaming.
Have you ever wondered what secrets have been hidden for 100 years in the world's most famous tomb? We're about to reveal 25 treasures from King Tut's burial chamber that completely rewrite everything historians thought they knew about this ancient ruler. From a dagger literally forged from outer space to golden sandals designed for walking on enemies' faces to trumpets that were played on live radio in 1939. By the end, the evidence will reveal how this teenage pharaoh may have changed the course of world history if he hadn't have died at just 19 years old. Number 32. The meteorite dagger from heaven. What if the most powerful weapon in ancient Egypt didn't come from this planet? Hidden inside Tutankhamun's mummy wrappings was a dagger with an iron blade. Impossible, since King Tut died centuries before the Iron Age began. When scientists used X-ray analysis, they discovered the blade contains nickel and cobalt levels that don't exist on Earth. This iron came from a meteorite that traveled millions of miles through space before crashing into our planet.
Italy's University of Pisa and the Polytechnic University of Milan used up-to-date, non-invasive technology to examine the artifact. They discovered not only a dagger with an unearthly dimensions, but evidence suggesting significant mastery of ironworking in Tutankhamun's time.
King Tutankhamun was buried with a weapon literally forged from stardust that ancient Egyptians believed gave him divine power over his enemies. Number 31. Golden sandals for crushing enemies. But divine weapons weren't the only way Tutankhamun displayed power over his foes. Among hundreds of clothing items were golden court sandals with artwork on the soles depicting Egypt's 9 traditional enemies. The faces show incredible detail: Nubians, Libyans, and Asians with distinctive features and clothing. Every step Tutankhamun took meant literally walking on his enemies' faces. These golden sandals reveal a pharaoh who didn't just want to defeat enemies, he wanted to humiliate them with every single step. Number 30. The game that determined eternal fate. Speaking of life and death, Tutankhamun took something that could determine his eternal fate. 4 complete sets of senet, a board game involving 30 squares and knucklebones, were found in the tomb.
When he was looking, a companion asked him, "What can you see?" And he said very famously, "Wonderful things." Now, among the artifacts that he discovered in the tomb were 4 senet boards. Now, the discovery of not 1, but 4 senet boards was a bit of a shock. It was a popular game in the Old Kingdom, but seeing 4 in a tomb for one person is the equivalent of burying somebody today with 4 PlayStations. It wasn't expected, but it made it very clear that it was the favorite game of the boy king.
According to the Egyptian Book of the Dead, senet was played against the god of death himself in the afterlife. Winning meant eternal life. Losing meant complete soul annihilation. The boards were masterpieces made from ebony and inlaid with ivory. Tutankhamun brought 4 sets to make sure he had enough chances to win eternal life in the ultimate game against death itself. Number 29. The lost daughters who never breathed. But the most heartbreaking discovery reveals personal tragedy behind the golden mask. Inside, an unmarked box. Archaeologists found 2 tiny coffins containing mummified fetuses, Tutankhamun's stillborn daughters.
There was such a high mortality rate for infants and sort of stillborn children in the ancient world that it's not surprising. But it is extraordinary to have them carefully mummified, wrapped up, cocooned, put in these coffins and placed in their father's tomb.
One was 25 weeks old, the other nearly full term at 37 to 39 weeks. Both received their own miniature coffins and careful mummification, showing incredible parental love. These lost daughters represent not just personal heartbreak, but the end of an entire royal bloodline that had ruled Egypt for generations. Number 28. the army of 413 eternal servants. With no living children, Tutankhamun needed a different kind of eternal family. Scattered throughout the tomb were 413 Ushabti figurines, magical servants for the afterlife. Most burials had one or two. Tut had an army made from blue-green faience. Each was inscribed with spells to bring them to life as eternal workers. Some held copper farming tools, others wore supervisor kilts with whips. While most people hoped for one servant in the afterlife, Tutankhamun planned to rule over hundreds of workers for eternity. Number 27. Underwear fit for a warrior god. Even the most intimate clothing reveals how extraordinary this pharaoh was. Among 5,000 artifacts were 145 loincloths with 200 threads per inch, compared to 37 to 60 threads in ordinary Egyptian underwear. This silk-soft fabric was smoother than anything most people today have felt. Such fine weaving suggests an active lifestyle demanding the highest quality materials. Even Tutankhamun's underwear was superior to modern millionaire clothing, proving every aspect of his life was designed for someone expecting to be physically demanding. Number 26. The shrine guarding his internal organs. The most beautiful object in the tomb wasn't meant for the living world. Tutankhamun's preserved organs were stored in canopic jars housed with a magnificent golden shrine. 4 death goddesses, Isis, Nephthys, Neith, and Selket, guarded, wearing form-fitting dresses that inspired 1920s flapper fashion. Carter called it the most beautiful monument I have ever seen. Tutankhamun's intestines received more beautiful housing than most pharaohs' entire bodies. Even his internal organs deserved sacred treatment. Number 25. The scarf that caught ancient thieves. Not everything went according to plan. One item reveals ancient crime drama. Inside a cedar chest with priceless ceremonial objects was a knotted linen scarf. When untangled, it contained several golden rings.
The mayor of the East Bank found evidence that the mayor of the West Bank is robbing the tombs and stealing the tombs. He did write a report, and they did investigate the case, and they wrote everything is fine.
The tomb had been robbed twice, but thieves were caught or scared off. In hasty restoration, officials stuffed the abandoned jewelry into the scarf. This forgotten scarf contains evidence of real ancient Egyptian crime, where thieves came within moments of stealing millions before fleeing for their lives. Number 24. The trumpets played on live radio. Some treasures were so well preserved they could still be used 3,000 years later. 2 trumpets, one silver, one gilded bronze, are among the oldest surviving wind instruments in the world. In 1939, British Army musician James Tappern played them on BBC Radio for a live broadcast that can still be heard on YouTube today.
And now the 2 trumpets will be blown by bandsman James Tappern.
Trumpets of the pharaoh Tutankhamun, Lord of the Crowns, King of the South and North, Son of Re.
However, he needed a modern mouthpiece, so the original sound remains a mystery. These 3,000-year-old instruments were so perfectly preserved that millions of people heard Tutankhamun's trumpets on live radio in 1939. Number 23. The wooden mannequin for royal fashion. One of the strangest discoveries reveals Tutankhamun's attention to royal appearance. A wooden bust of Tutankhamun's head and torso was found in the corridor, essentially a mannequin for the king's clothes and jewelry. With hundreds of garments, including 12 robes, dozens of sandals, and elaborate jewelry, this clothes-horse pharaoh needed a way to display and organize his massive wardrobe. Tutankhamun was such a fashion-conscious ruler that he needed a personal mannequin to help choose outfits, even in death. Number 22. The folding bed that amazed archaeologists. Among the furniture was something that shouldn't have existed in ancient times. Carter discovered a folding bed the only intact example known from ancient Egypt. This ingenious piece of furniture could be collapsed for travel or storage, showing advanced engineering skills. The bed was decorated with intricate carvings and inlaid with precious materials. This 3,000-year-old folding bed was more sophisticated than many modern camping beds, proving ancient Egyptian engineering was far more advanced than previously thought. Number 21. The chariot built for international warfare. 6 war chariots revealed Tutankhamun's true military ambitions. The chariots weren't just transport. They were mobile command centers decorated with gold panels, showing bound foreign captives. One chariot had a canopy for shade and images of 6 prisoners with hieroglyphs naming Tutankhamun and his queen. The decoration combined artistic styles from multiple civilizations. These weren't parade vehicles, but actual war machines.
Primary function is for the archer. So he has a driver, but the main warrior is the archer. All of this, the horses, the wheels, the chariot, all it's for is to put an archer on the battlefield.
Designed to protect Egyptian power across the ancient world while protecting the pharaoh in battle. Number 20. The leather armor that rivals modern technology. The most advanced military technology in the tomb rivals modern body armor. A sophisticated armored tunic made from over 2,000 leather scales, each molded for consistency and stitched with overlapping ridges to deflect arrows. Ancient leather specialist Lucy Skinner calls it the Kevlar vest of the ancient Egyptian world. State-of-the-art protection built for actual combat. This 3,000-year-old armor was so advanced it could have saved lives on modern battlefields, proving Tutankhamun was prepared for real warfare. Number 19. The arsenal of 130 walking sticks. One category of artifacts reveals surprising details about the young pharaoh's lifestyle. Archaeologists found about 130 staffs and walking sticks, including one labeled a reed staff which His Majesty cut with his own hand. These weren't just ceremonial items. Many show wear patterns suggesting regular use. Some were practical walking aids, others were weapons, and several were symbols of royal authority. The sheer number of walking sticks suggests Tutankhamun was constantly on the move, personally leading expeditions and ceremonies across his empire. Number 18. The boomerangs and hunting equipment. Strange, curved weapons found in the tomb reveal an unexpected royal hobby. Multiple throwing sticks and boomerangs were discovered alongside elaborate hunting scenes painted on wooden boxes. These weren't just decorative, they showed actual wear from use. Ancient Egyptian pharaohs hunted hippos, lions, and other dangerous animals as both sport and religious duty. Despite any health problems, Tutankhamun was actively hunting some of Africa's most dangerous animals, with weapons that could kill or maim if thrown incorrectly. Number 17. The lock of grandmother's hair. One of the most touching discoveries shows family devotion across generations. Nested small coffins in the treasury contained a lock of hair belonging to Tiye, wife of Amenhotep III and Tutankhamun's mother. This wasn't just any hair. It was carefully preserved as a precious family keepsake, showing the young pharaoh's connection to his ancestors. Tutankhamun treasured his grandmother's hair so much that he took it to the afterlife as one of his most precious possessions. Number 16. The wine jars that revealed his reign length. Ordinary storage containers provided crucial historical evidence. Wine jars, labeled with production years ranging from year 5 to year 9 of Tutankhamun's reign, plus one mysterious year 10 jar. These labels confirm he ruled for nearly a decade, long enough to mature from boy to man. Ancient Egyptians considered someone fully adult by age 14. The wine jars prove Tutankhamun wasn't a brief boy king, but ruled long enough to become a seasoned adult pharaoh with nearly 10 years of experience. Number 15. The mysterious fire-starting kit. Among royal treasures was something surprisingly practical and personal. A complete fire-lighting kit was found in the annex alongside other childhood possessions like toys and a box of paints. This hands-on tool suggests the young pharaoh knew how to start fires himself, unusual for someone with servants for every task. Even as absolute ruler of Egypt, Tutankhamun apparently insisted on knowing practical survival skills that most royalty would never learn. Number 14. The corselet, scattered in 3,000 pieces. The most complex reconstruction challenge revealed incredible ancient craftsmanship. Pieces of gold and semi-precious stones scattered throughout the antechamber turned out to be fragments of a ceremonial corselet, armor worn by Egyptian kings in battle. Reconstructing it was one of the most difficult tasks Carter's team faced, requiring years of detective work. This battle armor was so intricate that modern archaeologists needed decades to figure out how ancient craftsmen had assembled it over 3,000 years ago. Number 13. The model boats for eternal voyages. Dozens of miniature vessels prepared Tutankhamun for eternal journeys. Model boats made from painted wood with working sail rigging were scattered throughout the tomb. These weren't toys, but magical vessels designed to transport the pharaoh through the afterlife. Each boat was perfectly crafted with incredible attention to detail, from tiny ropes to miniature steering oars. Tutankhamun planned to sail through eternity in a fleet of magical boats that were more detailed than many modern ship models. Number 12. The mysterious Anubis Shrine Guardian. Guarding the treasury entrance was something that terrified even experienced archaeologists. A life-sized statue of the jackal god Anubis, master of mummification, stood on carrying poles in the treasury doorway. This wasn't just decoration. It was a magical guardian designed to protect the pharaoh's most precious possessions from intruders for eternity. Even hardened archaeologists felt supernatural dread when moving this ancient guardian that had been protecting Tutankhamen's treasures for over 3,000 years. Number 11. The precious stone headrest. Even Tutankhamen's pillow was made from materials worth a fortune. A headrest crafted from blue faience, glazed ceramic that created striking colors, served as an ancient Egyptian pillow. These headrests supported the neck while sleeping and were believed to protect the head in the afterlife. The craftsmanship required to create such smooth, comfortable curves was extraordinary. Tutankhamen's pillow was made from the same precious materials that decorated temples, showing that even his sleep demanded royal luxury. Number 10. The elaborate perfume and cosmetic collection. The young pharaoh's beauty routine rivaled modern celebrities. Dozens of containers held unguents, oils, and kohl for eye makeup. Some cosmetics were stored in carved animal-shaped containers, while others came in elaborate jars made from precious stones. The variety shows ancient Egyptians had sophisticated beauty routines. Tutankhamen's cosmetic collection was so extensive, it could stock a modern department store beauty counter, proving ancient royalty was just as obsessed with appearance as today's celebrities. Number 9. The golden throne that sparked revolution. One piece of furniture accidentally preserved evidence of a religious revolution. The golden throne shows Tutankhamun and his queen beneath rays of the Aten sun god, the revolutionary deity promoted by his predecessor. However, their names were changed to honor the tradition of god Amun, showing the religious transition happening during Tut's reign. This throne accidentally became a historical document, preserving evidence of one of history's first religious revolutions, frozen in gold for 3,000 years. Number 8. The golden mask that made him immortal. Finally, the treasure that made Tutankhamun the most famous pharaoh in history. The 22-pound solid gold funerary mask placed on Tut's face depicts him as the god Osiris with a false beard. Made from gold inlaid with precious stones and glass, the obsidian and quartz eyes appear incredibly lifelike. Inside the mummy wrappings were 143 additional artifacts, amulets, jewelry, and treasures. The mask that made King Tut globally famous was just the beginning of treasures that would take archaeologists decades to fully catalog and understand. Number 7. The military arsenal that reveals his true identity. Here's what changes everything about this teenage pharaoh. The tomb contained a complete military arsenal, 6 chariots, dozens of bows, hundreds of arrows, 8 shields, throwing sticks, and advanced armor. This wasn't a weak boy king's collection. Battle scenes on painted boxes show specific military campaigns with graphic details of defeated enemies. The evidence proves Tutankhamun wasn't a weak boy king, but a teenage warrior who led Egyptian armies into battle and may have died fighting for his empire. Number 6. The cover-up that erased history. So why has history remembered him as a weak boy pharaoh? After Tut's death, successor Horemheb systematically erased him from official records, claiming credit for military victories and dismantling monuments. King lists skipped from Amenhotep III straight to Horemheb, removing Tutankhamun from royal succession. Only Carter's discovery in 1922 brought him back to world attention. Tutankhamun's own generals succeeded in erasing his warrior reputation from history, but they couldn't destroy the evidence he took to his grave. Number 5. The bed that turned pharaohs into lions. What if sleeping could transform a king into the most feared predator in Africa? Among the ceremonial furniture was a bed with carved ivory lion heads at the foot end, representing the lioness goddess Sekhmet. This wasn't ordinary furniture. It was designed to magically transfer the fierce power of lions to the pharaoh while he slept. The intricate carvings showed snarling faces with incredible detail. Tutankhamun believed that simply sleeping on this bed would give him the supernatural strength and ferocity of lions in both life and the afterlife. Number 4. The crystal crown hidden under his mask. Beneath the famous golden mask was another treasure that archaeologists almost missed. A delicate diadem made of gold wire with turquoise, lapis lazuli, and obsidian was found directly on Tutankhamun's skull. The headband featured cobra and vulture symbols representing his dominion over Upper and Lower Egypt. This hidden crown was meant to be his first line of divine protection in the afterlife. While millions know about his golden mask, almost no one realizes Tutankhamun wore a second, even more sacred crown underneath it for 3,000 years. Number 3. The miniature chariots for eternal warfare. The full-size war chariots weren't the only vehicles prepared for eternal battle. Small-scale golden chariot models with working wheels were crafted with the same precision as jewelry. These weren't toys, but magical transportation for the afterlife, designed to let Tutankhamun command eternal armies from perfectly functional miniature war machines. Tutankhamun planned to lead supernatural battles riding chariots so small they could fit in your hand, yet detailed enough to actually function. Number 2. The fans that still hold perfect feathers. Some organic materials survived 3,000 years in such perfect condition they look brand new. Ornate ceremonial fans made from ostrich feathers with golden handles depicting hunting scenes were found throughout the tomb. Incredibly, one fan still contained perfectly preserved feathers that looked like they were plucked yesterday. These weren't just for cooling, but were symbols of royal authority. Tutankhamun's fans were so well preserved that the 3,000-year-old feathers could still create a breeze if someone used them today. Number 1. The 100 magic amulets woven into his body. The final discovery reveals just how terrified ancient Egyptians were of the afterlife journey. Over 100 individual amulets were found woven throughout Tutankhamun's mummy wrappings, scarab beetles, jed pliers, and ankh symbols. Each amulet was positioned according to specific magical formulas from the Book of the Dead to protect different body parts during the dangerous journey to eternal life. Tutankhamun's body was essentially turned into a magical fortress with over 100 protective spells wrapped around him, showing that even pharaohs feared what waited in the afterlife. The greatest archaeological discovery of all time wasn't just golden treasures. It was the preserved evidence of ancient Egypt's last great warrior pharaoh, whose true story was hidden for 3,000 years until a British archaeologist's candle finally illuminated the wonderful things waiting in the darkness.